So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the BBC accused of editing out the NFU president's reference to Brexit, which I don't know what the hell the BBC are playing at. It's not the first time they've done something like this. Okay, this looks like an interesting article. We'll have a look at that at some point. You can see I've got a lot of tabs open. Part of it's for a longer project. But yeah, you know, Scots have been left questioning a segment that aired on both BBC Scotland's The Seven and Reporting Scotland. The social media user compared an awkward cut as National Farmers Union Scotland President Martin Kennedy was speaking to a written up BBC news website piece quoting the same interview. So if we go through the interview first, right, because I wasn't sure, you know, some things you have to search up, right. So he goes, I have not seen, here it is, NFU President Martin Kennedy told BBC Scotland the impact of Russia's invasion after a 2-year period which brought Brexit and the COVID pandemic was absolutely devastating. So I looked through the article, right, there's no name on this, but they did cite that he said, after a 2-year period hit by the consequences of Brexit and the COVID pandemic was absolutely devastating. So if we go to the actual video.
Indian crops means farmers...
Storm by. I've never heard a term before about a perfect storm, but I have never seen anything like this before. And it really is a perfect storm. With on the back of the COVID issues where we had a real lack of labour, and of course with the Ukraine crisis.
Yeah, they cut out the Brexit bit by the looks of things. Consequence of, you know... It's just really bizarre that they've done this. It definitely looks like there was a cut here, and we don't know why. It's in the written bit of the video, but for some reason, you know, they mention COVID and Ukraine. Let's go back quickly, and you can see the cut as well.
And it really is a perfect storm. With
a perfect storm, right?
On the back of the COVID issues where we had a real lack of labour, and of course with the Ukraine...
A real lack of labour, and you can see it here. Because I'm assuming he's gonna reference freedom of movement, but for some reason parts have been cut. The parts in the written up bit don't have it either, because I think the social media user might be wrong here. Because he says, "I haven't seen anything like it before." After a 2-year period which brought Brexit and the COVID pandemic, we're absolutely devastated. But you can see it's been cut.
And of course, the Ukraine crisis, the implications that has on the energy costs, particularly on feed, and every sector is facing some real challenges coming forward. And the last thing we want to be doing is winding down in production, because the implications that will have on our consumer further down the track will be even greater. I have never seen anything like this before. And it really is a perfect storm. With on the back of the COVID issues where we had a real lack of labour, and of course...
You can see it's a really blatant edit.
The COVID
and they didn't have to do a white flash. They could have done it as a jump cut. So for whatever reason, whoever edited this wanted someone to know it was edited. Because you can see it there. I don't want to blind the audience, but you can see about the 27th second, you can see it cuts. And he goes on to something else.
Real lack of labour, and of course with the Ukraine crisis.
So a real lack of labour, he probably would have linked that to freedom of movement, which makes sense, considering the labour shortages are predominantly down to the end of freedom of movement, which the BBC cut for some reason. So, again, what can you say? What are the BBC playing at here? I don't know, and Don't do this, BBC. Like, I have spoke to some people. There are mistakes that happen. You know, some of these people, it's not their area of expertise to cover certain aspects of Brexit and other things. But this is pretty brazen by whoever did this. In the written piece, he does mention Brexit. In the interview, I guess the interview's shorter, but given the fact that, you know, the quotes aren't the longest in this piece. You know, they've only cited a couple of things here, a couple of sentences from him. It looks like a very short interview here. Why did they edit it out? But I don't know. It's just ridiculous at this point. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And you know, if anyone actually can find out who actually did this interview or whatever, who made these decisions, just let me know, because this is ridiculous. So just further to the actual video, just reading this article a bit more, you know, you got the one of the BBC's editors, I think it is, Douglas Fraser, saying, he works for the BBC, he's quite senior, saying, asked why Brexit had been removed from the TV broadcast, he said, "I don't know, I'm guessing it had something to do with the editing, editing to length and probably at speed and uncompromising discipline in the TV news. You realise that we tend not to do 20-second interviews with contributors, but edit them to that length." And so why did you edit out the Brexit bit then? Why didn't you edit out anything else? You know, the pandemic. Why did you keep that in? It doesn't make sense. Why are you doing such short interviews? It doesn't. You don't educate people by doing, you know, these sorts of interviews. But yeah, I just despair at the BBC. But yeah, I'm just gonna end the video with that. It's clear that something, whoever's made these decisions to shorten clips or edit bits out about Brexit is just a joke.